Have you ever felt like your mother doesn't really care about you? Or that she constantly criticizes, manipulates, or controls you? If so, you may have a toxic mother who is damaging your mental and emotional health. Having a toxic mother can have serious consequences for your well-being. So here in this video, I will discuss 8 signs that you have a toxic mother and how you can cope with them. If this is your first time here, I'm Monica Bando, a clinical hypnotherapist on a mission to help you thrive after generational trauma and successfully achieve emotional balance. This video is going to be exciting and valuable, so subscribe to my channel now and click the bell icon for regular updates. Let's get started.
What is meant by the term toxic? The word toxic gets thrown around a lot on Instagram and TikTok these days, with or without Britney Spears' hit playing in the background. However, just because it's a buzzword in our modern vocabulary, which also includes terms like gaslighting and narcissism, once whispered only in therapy rooms, it doesn't mean relationships can't genuinely be toxic and harmful. Unhealthy mother-child relationships can have negative effects long after a person grows up. The impact of toxic parenting can be felt for many years, Michelle Goldman, PhD, points out. Possible side effects for the child include anxiety, depression, anger, and behavioral issues, as well as unhealthy relationships with others, and the tendency to enact similar toxic traits in interpersonal relationships. It's a vicious cycle, isn't it? You grow up with these patterns, and before you know it, you might find yourself repeating them without even realizing it. What exactly is a toxic mother? There's not a one-size-fits-all clinical definition. Generally, a toxic mother is one who consistently engages in behaviors that are harmful to her child despite feedback. Kiana Shelton, LCSD with MindPath Health, explains. What might these behaviors look like? A toxic mother creates a dynamic where she may play the victim and sabotage the success of her child. She may also live vicariously through the child to compensate for her own inadequacies. When not the center of attention, she may attempt to use guilt or coercion to control the situation. How does a toxic mother differ from a toxic father? Any parent, regardless of sex or gender identity, might display some of the flags. Narcissistic mothers will view children, particularly daughters, as an extension of themselves, almost like a doll, and any move toward autonomy, like getting engaged, is viewed as abandonment. Toxic fathers, on the other hand, may be more narcissistic and consistently disconnected. 8 signs you have a toxic mother. Having a toxic mother can have serious consequences for your well-being. It can affect your self-esteem, confidence, happiness, and trust. It can also cause you to develop anxiety, depression, or trauma. That's why it's important to recognize the signs of a toxic mother and learn how to heal from her influence. Here are the signs. Number 1. Controlling behaviors. Autonomy is a threat to toxic mothers. To counteract autonomy, toxic mothers might lean into controlling behaviors. It's about keeping the child under their thumb, whether through financial control, emotional blackmail, or guilt tripping. It's a way of saying, "You can't survive without me," which can be incredibly damaging to a child's sense of self. Number 2. Blaming. If every night is game night and the blame game is what mom always seems to pick, she's probably toxic. Blaming can be anything from a mother being like, "I had a bad day at work. I come home and my kid left their Lego on the floor, so I scream at them and tell them my day is ruined." It's all about shifting responsibility and never owning up to one's actions or emotions. Number 3. Jealousy. While some parents beam with pride if a child lands a dream job or meets a wonderful partner, toxic parents see it as a threat. Unhealthy parents may tend to demonstrate manipulative tactics in order to have the child reprioritize or re-examine other people or things, like sports, splitting their time or attention. Number 4. Verbal or emotional abuse. Abuse isn't limited to physical, and none of it is okay. This puts the child in a place where they are questioning their worth and what is real, their reality versus that of what their parent tells them. It creates a dynamic of power and harm in the relationship. Number 5. Self-centeredness. Toxic mothers will consistently wave this red flag. They may put their own needs and wants ahead of their child's. This behavior can lead to the child feeling neglected, unimportant, and emotionally drained. Number 6. Overinvolvement. Moms who display this sign of toxic parenting often do so with their child's best interest in mind. Sometimes parents aren't toxic with malicious intent. But what's wrong with that? A lot if it goes too far. Sometimes overinvolvement might look like calling the parents of a coach who cut a child from the soccer team or the teacher who gave the kid a lower than expected grade. Seeing a child upset or disappointed is rough but necessary. Number 7. Boundary issues. Toxic moms will burst through metaphorical caution tape and stop signs within the parent-child relationship. Toxic parents tend to overstep boundaries, ignore boundaries, and set boundaries without communicating them to the child. This all impacts the ability of the child to relate to the parent in a healthy way. It's like walking on eggshells. You never know when you might cross an invisible line. Number 8. Addiction. Toxic mothers may have issues with substance abuse or gambling. Abusing substances or gambling can interfere with their ability to effectively parent. It's not just about the addiction itself, but also about the neglect and instability it introduces into a child's life. How to heal from a toxic mother. Here are some tips on how to set healthy boundaries, seek professional help, and find support from others. They'll help you have a better understanding of your situation and how to move forward with your life. Number 1. Set boundaries. This step is hard but necessary for children who grew up with toxic mothers, especially if mom wasn't big on boundaries. Still, multiple experts say it's a vital step to healing. A boundary can include setting limits on the time one spends visiting a toxic parent, the frequency of phone calls, or the topics they are willing to discuss. It's about reclaiming your power and space, deciding what you will and won't tolerate. Number 2. Therapy. Even setting boundaries can be a stress fest with a toxic parent. Therapy is important in talking through past and present issues. Sometimes, bringing the mother might actually help if she's willing to change. It's a safe space to unpack the baggage, sort through the hurt, and learn healthier ways of relating to yourself and others. Number 3. Self-care. Journaling, meditation, or walking, also having dinner with a friend can help. It's about doing things that nourish you, that remind you that you are worthy of care and love. It might be hard at first, especially if you've been conditioned to put your mother's needs first, but it's a crucial step in healing. Think of it as building a garden where once there were only weeds. It takes time and care, but eventually you'll see the beauty emerge. Number 4. The road ahead. Healing from a toxic mother is a journey, not a destination. It's about learning to recognize patterns, set boundaries, and care for yourself in ways you might not have been taught. It's about understanding that your worth isn't tied to your mother's approval or disapproval. And perhaps most importantly, it's about breaking the cycle so that if you choose to have children of your own, you can give them the healthy, supportive, loving relationship that you deserved.
Remember, you are not alone in this. Many have walked this path before you, and many will walk it after you. There is a community out there, therapists, support groups, online forums where you can find understanding, empathy, and guidance. I have an amazing program called Thriving After the Toxic Mother Trauma, where we will explore and transform your deep-rooted painful emotions. You will find the link to apply in the description, so don't be afraid to reach out for help. It's a sign of strength and not weakness. So finally, give yourself grace. Healing takes time, and it's okay to have setbacks. So, are you ready to let go of your toxic mother trauma? Comment yes below, as I like to know that you are taking action. What matters is that you keep moving forward one step at a time. So, you've got this. Remember to hit the like button, share the content, and subscribe to my channel for more exciting content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.